of education. And you went in that business with my name attached to it some way, shape, or form. I am not going to endorse your business because I don't know what you're doing, how you're conducting yourself as a business person. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying I have to distance myself from that. I had students that started their own funded account company. And to my understanding, it didn't do well. Okay. I don't know the ramifications around it, but apparently it didn't do. And I may be wrong. I don't know. But I know that at one time I had this state publicly that has nothing to do with me. I'm not invested in this. I have no kickback from it. I'm not promoting it. I have nothing to do with it because you're messing with other people's money. And when you start collecting things as payments and you're calling it a mentorship and you have my logo or you're saying ICT in the videos or the advertisements or whatever, you are indirectly pulling me into that. And I'm saying the fuck you are. I'm severing that. I am by myself. If anybody learns from me and they want to make mentorships, okay, I've already said this on Twitter Spaces. If you have made money using what I taught and you have made it your own model, you're not out there trying to pretend you invented something, but this is what you arrived at using the information. And then you show people how you use that information. I don't have a problem with that. I will never fuck with you. I will not say you did this. I'm not going to talk shit about you. I'm not going to go in your comment section. I'm not going to talk shit about you and say, oh, you're a dollar man, your mentor. I'm not talking about that. The people that are assholes that are trying to mentor, they know who they are. They fucking know who they are. But my students that have made money, that have proven they've made money, and I've encouraged them in Twitter Spaces live, publicly in front of everybody last year. I said, you have other ways of making money. Okay. You may not get to the point where you're making big, big withdrawals from your live brokerage account or through a funded account company. You may not be able to do that real quick. But a lot of you think that that's the only way to get there, to make your ends meet. You don't. We have a huge community. And yes, there's a small sect of it that's assholes and they're just toxic people. And for the most part, I think it's fun because it makes it livens it up for me. Because if it was just everybody saying, "Oh, I love ICT's concepts. I love ICT. He's the next best thing since Raisin Bread." Well, that's fucking boring. That's boring. So it's good that once in a while we have folks that say, "Yeah, I don't think that shit works," or "This guy's a clown," or "He doesn't do this and he doesn't do that," because it causes you to think about it. Well, wait a minute. Am I learning this because I like the person? ICT? Am I supposed to like everything about ICT to make this stuff make money for me? Or am I really supposed to be focused on what he tells me to do is don't worry about me. Don't worship ICT. Don't look up at ICT as a fucking guru. I'm not your Forex Jesus. I'm not the futures Jesus. I am a man. I am fallible. I am a sinner. I can mess up just like anybody else can. But for the folks that spend too much time worrying about the person, the character that I allow for you all to see, you don't realize that is a test. It's a test. Do you care more about image or what works? Because if you spend all the time worrying about the person, and I've told you all along, we're not a team. If you're on the other side of my trade, I hope you lose. And you could be a long-term student. If you're on the other side of my trade, I want you to lose. That's trading. I didn't hide it. I didn't lie about it. That's the nature of it. I'm going to eat. If I'm on the other side of your trade and I'm wrong and you made money, I'm fucking impressed by that. I'm not offended by that. I have students that have showed, hey, look, you were calling for this level this day, and I went like this. I hope you don't think, dude, I'm not taking offense to that. I love that. I love that. That's an award. You need a trophy for that. I'm not offended by that. But some of you think, because I've done such a really good job of being a certain character online, some of you think I have very thin skin. I don't give two fucks. I really don't. But I like to push buttons. I like to get people talking. I have mastered social media without any advertising because I know how people think. I know how to control what people think about me, how to inspire them to think about certain things, how to lead them along, and how to cut them off. Give them just enough that they want more, and then over-deliver every time I want to do it. Everything I do is calculated, except for this morning when this fucking OBS wouldn't start up. I was mad. I was mad. If I keep talking, I'm going to get mad again, so I can't talk about it. But I had students come to me that are mentorship students, and they have asked me if I will let them translate my videos in their language. And the answer is no. No. If you think you're going to put them on YouTube, and I know there's a couple channels that they're about to get wiped out, you do not have my permission to do that. Okay? You don't. If you want to take little clips and put music around it, I've never fucked with anybody. I've never done that. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't look at that as, oh, that's copyright infringement, because you're taking a small little piece of something and you're making a little artistic little thing. And then some of them are actually kind of cool. I don't have a problem with that. But if you take my entire lectures and you turn them into books verbatim and you put them on Amazon, like, that's a dick move. Like, that's a dick move. I had a guy, it's Spanish, he put a whole bunch, he even has my pictures right from the mentorship videos. You can let me see it. It says, I see mentorship. It's broken up. Like, he's trying to hide it, but I had such a huge, just a obnoxious watermark with the usernames and the user groups, and it was a mess. But I had to do it because I had so many people leaking it. And I was like, you know what? This motherfucker went out there and went to Amazon, and they published this book. And all it is a watered down version in Spanish of the things I say in the mentorship. And it's trash. It's literally fucking trash. So no, you don't have my permission to translate any of my videos in your language and then put them on YouTube. No, you don't have my permission to translate them and sell them in your own country. So there you go. I don't extend that privilege to anybody. Do you have my blessing if you want to use the information, get good at it, build your model, go out there and create a YouTube channel where you use the model and you actually show them, this is how I trade, and then you do it and grow the channel to whatever. It could be bigger than mine. I would support that. I would congratulate you. I would lift you up. I do it with Tanja. There are others that are slowly starting to find their groove, and when they get a little bit better at what they're doing, I'll push them too. I'll be in their chat. Just because you're my student, I'm not going to be in there rah, cheering you on. I don't. First, I don't have time for that. But when I used oh gosh, what's her name? I can't think of her name now. I'm embarrassed. I shouldn't say it like this out loud, but a young Asian girl. For the life of me, I haven't looked at her channel for such a long time. I can't remember her name. Okay, but I was trying to get my daughter to watch her and say, look, she's going through the mentorship, and here you go. See what she does. And see if that inspires you. And I've come to the conclusion my daughter's she's never going to trade. But I know some of you right now are screaming her name. I just can't remember her name, and I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry if you're listening. I have 1,000 things fighting to be in the front of the line in my head right now. But then you have Tanja, where she's live streaming, okay? And if I was her, I would have moderators in there cleaning up her chat, because when I visit there, I see some very vulgar things said directed to me, like I'm lusting after her. I see her as like my daughter. She's not physically and biologically my daughter. There's a lot of people who think that. She's not. But she literally looks a lot like my daughter. And her mannerisms, the way she does her eyes, and she talks with her eyes. And that's one of the first things I noticed about her that resembles my daughter. But her face structure looks like my daughter, and she's using my stuff, and she's doing well with it. Does she lose sometimes? Sure she does. It's an interesting thing for me to watch her go through some of the emotional challenges. When I see her trying to talk herself out of the stress she's feeling, sometimes she doesn't do it as well as I'd like to see her do it. She doesn't do self-talk correctly. She'll say, oh, I don't care. I don't care. And she'll roll her hair back. She'll sit back in her chair. They're all tells that she just wants to say, fuck it, I'm turning it off. I'm done for today. But she knows she's live streaming. I find that interesting. I don't find pleasure in seeing that uncomfortable part, but that's the things that you're going to be met with. So if you're going to learn how to trade and do really well and you want to be a live streamer and YouTuber, sure, you can make money doing that. Absolutely, you can make money doing it. And you can do it without being drama. You don't have to talk bad about anybody else. You can just stay in your own lane. And that's the best way to do it. Because if you're going to do the live streaming stuff, everybody's going to come there to watch you fail. That's the first interest. They want to see you fail. And especially if I'm anywhere in that equation, like if you learn my stuff, because they want to go in there and they say, oh, yeah, ICT stuff doesn't work. But then these people are making money. The levels I'm calling out in their chat windows is happening. Okay, they want an engagement, they want an interaction, they want a response either from me or the person doing the live stream. My advice would be, don't even have a chat window. Live stream your stuff. Use the model that you built around this concept, and let your channel grow without any drama. Don't give a stage to trolls. Don't give a stage to people. Don't even have a comment section on anything. Because honestly, even the good stuff is not good for you. Too much love, too much sugary, like, I love your channel. Like, you don't need to do that. They have a little function on the videos. It's a thumbs up. I wish they would bring back the thumbs down. They have it there so you can do it, but you can't see it. My videos generally are 97 or higher % liked. So that means I have those same type of guys out there with their sock puppet accounts, and they're going in there and they're doing the thumbs down stuff. And that's okay. I mean, if I have a 70% like rate, and some of you probably want to see it now, I want to see that there's that many likes. I don't look at that stuff, but I ask, I'm sorry, the folks that ask me in the comment section, how many people do a thumbs down, because you can only see the thumbs up. My ratings are 97%, mostly 98%. They're liked, okay? I wish that there was a thumbs down video. I wish they would bring that back. It's not fair that if we're going to have the thumbs up, that there should be a thumbs down too. So that way you can see that a lot of the things that people have fallen victim to when it has anything to do with me is it's the other people talking about me. And that influence keeps them from ever looking at the stuff I teach. And if they catch them early with that, they think that that's hurting me. I'm already here. You're not going to take me out of where I'm at. I'm already here. I'm set in my ways. I'm done. Nobody's changing nothing. And after this Caleb stuff, if I ever make a video again, who the fuck knows? I don't know. But I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. I'm not trying to do that. But I can tell you that if you have content that people like, that your personality is friendly, and you're trying to be genuine. So if you are showing any kind of emotion that's real, and I got the most feedback when I was on Twitter with the Twitter Spaces. People are asking me to go back to that. I'm never going back to Twitter. I'm never going to go back to there. I'm not going to remove my account, but I have entertained the idea of a podcast. Okay, I've had several companies come to me and like ask me what my thoughts were about it, and I said this year I'm not going to make any decisions about it because I have this project here. And before Caleb stepping forward asking me to do this with him, I just wanted to focus on just unplugging from social media, unplugging from YouTube, and just go back to being me before Baby Pips. Like, I just wanted to be back to that guy. And do I miss doing Twitter Spaces? I do. But I don't think it's a climate where if I'm just going out there saying what I tend to say, I don't want any more drama, because people in high seats, they're starting to look for people that have a high opinion or a certain opinion. And it's not that important to me. When it's live, I have a tendency to go off the track and ramble and talk about other things. And a lot of you really want those other topics. Like you want the tinfoil hat stuff. You want the stories of me going through stuff. And sometimes when I get emotional, you've heard me cry. You hear me cackle and laugh when I'm going on. I laugh at my own jokes. I've learned that those elements where I was allowing my emotions, where if you listen to the old videos where I'm just droning on and it's just monotone and boring, I'm not showing any kind of emotion at all, they're great for lullabies. They'll put you to sleep. But if you listen, you probably can't sleep through a Twitter space because invariably I'm going to go off and I'm going to, elevate and animate myself. And I've done it a couple times. Some of it was scripted where I wanted to do it for shock value. And other times it's just organic. And I would swing from one spectrum to the next. And that part of me, I wanted to hide that from the public. Like I didn't want people criticizing me over that aspect. And I found that because of that aspect and being real and genuine and letting it be organic, that's the part that people like the most. Out of everything that I put out in content, they like the lectures where I'm like that, where it's not stunted and stilted and wooden. And maybe you hear me talk about a painful moment and I end up, showing my emotions where I would have never been comfortable doing that, on baby pips. I had no interest in that. But my advice to someone that wants to learn how to do this, and if you're contemplating doing it and you already know how to trade well with it and consistently, it doesn't mean you trade every day profitably, but you're making money over the month, over the year, and you want to get another income. I think that if it's in your personality to do so, and you're comfortable being open and transparent, I think that live streaming like that stuff, saying, here's my model. You're not trying to sell the course or the model, okay? You're saying, this is what I'm doing. And me implementing it and using it in front of you, win or loss, that's the content. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing it because it's going to give me another stream of income if I'm liked by other people. And it doesn't matter if people come and watch me, I'm going to be trading anyway. So if you go in with that mentality and you're not out there trying to talk about everybody else. See, I talk about methodologies. I don't talk about people. I don't point at people because I don't have a problem really personally with anybody. I know people don't like me. I know that they've done terrible things and said terrible things about me, threatened this and threatened that. And I get it, okay? But that's not changing shit. It's not doing anything. It's not going to change me who I am. I'm not a drama person on a family level, on a personal level. I don't do those types of things. But I can talk shit about your methodology. And if you take odds with that, then that's great, because that's the button I'm pushing. Because I want that person, whoever that is, and it could be a lot of you, to go out there and defend it. If you champion that stuff, you'll go out there and champion it. You'll go out and call it live, explain it. And you don't have to even do a demo account. Just explain it real time as it's happening. Now, I like watching people do that. And it doesn't have to be my stuff. Because if you know what you're doing and you're comfortable in your own skin, and you're not trying to be something that you're not trying to pretend to be something superior, but really not doing anything, you're not going to grow. You're not going to get an audience. You're not going to be able to retain that. But if you do the things that I have discovered are actually what people want, if you have something that works, and my stuff works, you have to find it where it works for you, though. You have to have a model that's comfortable for you, trading a time of day, an instrument that's conducive for you to feel comfortable. You're not trying to reinvent anything. You're not trying to amplify it or make it better or tweak it so that way you can say, well, I took this and made it better. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to do that. And you don't need to do that. I have so many weapons. All you got to do is say, you know what? I like the katana. I like the bow staff. I like the sai. I like the nunchuck. I like the shuriken. I like the takagi. These are all weapons, okay? No one weapon is better than the other. In the hands of someone that knows how to use them formidably, you don't want to be dealing with that. It's a bad day. So if you go through the motions of going through, what is it I teach? The first thing is how to read price. Where is it going? Why is it going? And when is it going to move? That's your first level. But then you find a model that tells you how to get in and where to look for a trade exit point and where the stop loss is. That's your model. That's it. That's a very simple thing. What makes it hard is you're trying to figure out which one's the better one. And if we're going to be honest, that's what you're all struggling with. You're listening to so many influencers and other people that said they study with me. Oh, it doesn't work. Now I'm doing this. Oh, I don't complicate shit. But it is a complicated matter for you to settle in on what you're comfortable with, because you have to sit down and go through the motions of figuring out what makes you tick. Can you trade against the grain and be a trader that goes short up here? I'm going to bet money that most of you aren't doing that. Can you grow into that? Yeah, that's what I had. It took years and years and years for me to do that. Long time. But being a part of a move that's easy to see and engaging that's easy stuff. That's why I say entries are easy. Targets are easy. They're all finite things. But knowing where the market's going to go, that's the uncertainty that evades most traders. And for the ones that know where it's likely to go, where do they mess up? They mess up by trying to force too many things in their model, and it gets analysis paralysis. I know where it's going, but I'm afraid if I take this one and then I see something else forming, and then I'm trying to do too sort of a stop loss. It's trying to be too tight because I'm trading with too much leverage. Right. There's your problem. Trade with one contract. Because if you can't double your account with one contract, you sure as fuck ain't doing it with 15 and 5 or whatever else you think you're going to do. You're not going to do it. All you're doing is amplifying the stress and the problem of holding onto a trade while you're in that with over-leveraged contract size or lot size if you're in Forex. You're going to care more about the fluctuations of profit and loss. It's taking money from me. It's putting money in there. I'm at a new equity high in the trade. Oh, shit, I gave back half of the trade. I probably should have got out. Now you're worried about something that's probably never going to be a factor if you had one lot on or one contract as a futures trader. That retracement here, like if you were short here and you watch the trade back up to there, that's about 50% of a retracement on an open position. I'm not fearful of that. That's why I'm not in a rush to push my trades real fast, taking my stop loss, jamming it into a certain measure of guaranteeing big profit. Because I know the first return after a nice entry can go as much as 60% of a retracement, meaning that it could trade right back to the area I entered at. And that doesn't change anything. It just means that, hey, that might be an opportunity to add another portion on. Or, okay, is it really spending too much time back at that 60% of retracement or more than 50% of what I've already seen as an unrealized gain? In other words, if I'm in a trade and I say make it easy, say I have $1,000 in open profit, but it's not been realized or closed. And then it retraces against me that where I'm down over $500 and up in open profit, but not realized. I haven't closed the trade. It hasn't gone back to my stop loss. It hasn't gone below profit, but I'm now only up $450 or whatever. That doesn't make me second guess the trade or change my mind about the trade. Oh, I better get out. And I'm going to counsel you to watch this portion where I was covering all the stuff in here today, where it kind of helps you formulate a process or a mindset on anticipating this ebb and flow, this give and take that the market's going to do while you're in a trade. And if you don't get accustomed to seeing some of that profit come back into the marketplace and come out of your account, and trust that that's a normal process. It's normal for that to happen. We all want these types of trades where you get short here and it just runs away quick. It doesn't even have any retracement at all, ever. Every new equity high stays there and adds more to it until the trade hits the limit order and you get out. That's not realistic. But I have found that when I was giving my examples, people would say, I see your examples and I want my trades to pan out like yours. But they don't realize is I was speeding them up because I had to force them on Twitter inside of 1 minute and 20 seconds because that was the time limit I had to have for those trade videos to be shown. So I'd condense sometimes an hour, maybe 45 minutes, a 30-minute trade. I would speed it up, not because I'm hiding anything. There's nothing to hide. It's all there. You can see it. But it had to be forced into a small space of time. And then I would record a song and place it over top of it. But because they would watch those videos, it was actually, and I didn't realize it until after most people were coming back to me and giving me this feedback, they would say, well, I'm in these trades and it's hard for me to hold them. Why? Because you watch my trade videos in the span of a truncated song of 1 minute and 20 seconds. You're expecting your profit objectives to be met in very super hyper speeds, because what are you watching? You're activating your reticular activating system, seeing these things happen on a sped up chart with a real execution in live market conditions. Not always a demo. Sometimes it was in an AMP account. Sometimes it was in a TD Ameritrade account. They're real brokers. That's not a paper trading account. That was real. But these videos, these examples, because they were sped up, you're being entertained because it's me doing an execution. You're being entertained because there's a song, and not everybody, but a lot of people said, I like your song choices. And then you're watching the duration of it. So what are you taking in? Your subconscious is saying, when I take a trade, I'm going to have that fast run. And I no longer want to do those type of videos, because the feedback I got, nobody was complaining about that video or those videos. They were saying, please give us more. But what I was getting back in the comment section or emails, they would say, I watch your videos and I'm inspired by that. But when I get into a trade, it's just, I can't hold on to them because I don't have the patience. And I realized I'm probably a very large contributing factor to that, because of the way I was giving that sped up example. I thought I was doing something cool, and I still think it's cool, but through the lens of a new student, for someone that's brand new, that's never really done it before, it kind of like, without not being the intended purpose, it has an effect on them by framing an expectation in terms of the duration of how these trades can pan out. It makes it feel like they're going to be very fast. And if you realize that a lot of those videos were longer than 40 minutes in duration, they're not all smart money concepts delivered in 5 minutes. You're trading an hour's range, okay? And there's a nudge, hint for you. But the point is, these moves, these runs, because I've sped them up for the purpose of fitting into the bandwidth and time constraints that Twitter placed on me, and adding a song to it, I supercharged the allure around it, and I showed the stuff working. But you're getting trained, indirectly, but not by design, to anticipate the trades panning out just like that in speed for you based on time. And it was something that no one complained about, but I have come to the conclusion that that is the large contributing factor, because what else would it be? What else would it be? Because if you're seeing the trade examples, and 95% of them were always sped up and shown on Twitter. It was a way for me to inspire you to say, this stuff works. This is what it looks like. Go through your charts and find the same information. But mostly it was just people watching it for entertainment value and saying, I'm inspired. I'm going to go out and try to trade like that. And then they're uncomfortable because now they're in it. It's been 30 seconds. It's been 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It's twice as long as the time limit that they were used to watching my trades pan out, because they've been sped up just to make it fit the time window that Twitter videos, because of my membership or whatever the limitations were. It used to be just that was the limit. You couldn't go beyond like 1 minute and 20 seconds. So my videos would always be like 1 minute and 19 seconds or whatever. And sometimes they would reject the video and have to compress it again to just get below that their little limit they would have on me. And my understanding is, I think you can make a longer video now, but I don't give a shit. I'm not making those videos anymore. So I've learned a lot as a mentor. Like I've taken things that were directly given to me as feedback. I've looked at things that I felt like I was doing a good thing, and other people didn't realize it, and I'm saying it now. Maybe some of you might think to yourself, yeah, it makes sense. That it probably was a contributing factor. And now I got to stop thinking about that the trade has to pan out fast, and I have to submit to time, which was the very first thing I taught when I was on Baby Pips. Just relax. You got to submit the process, submit to the time. It's going to take you much longer, and your trade doesn't have to go fast to your target. It's fun when it does. It's absolutely fun when it does that, but it doesn't have to do that. It doesn't have to do those things to be profitable. So anyway, I've said a lot of stuff today. I'm hungry. It's almost 2 o'clock. I've given you a whole lot of information. and I probably talked to you through your mundane work day. I've probably kept you up in other countries thinking, I must see with this stop talking. I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. You're not going to miss anything. Okay, it's all going to be in the replay. But I've had fun today. I'm hungry. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to wish you all a very pleasant day, evening, whatever. And Lord willing, until I talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm going to try to start the stream early, but it'll sit there with my mug looking at you, just to make sure that I got everything going on. That way, it hopefully at 9:15, it'll go off without any hitch. But today was a very technically challenging day for me. It wouldn't comply. It wouldn't work with me. So it took me out of my train of thought. But I think I salvaged a good one today. I gave you a lot of information. I covered the turtle soup stuff I wanted to talk about, and everything else is there. I'm going to try. I can't promise that it's going to be successful because, I tend to go on a rant. And every time I say we're going to close it, we go another hour. Keep going, ICT. You said 4 o'clock. We're here for it, baby. But the live streams, as I go through and progress on different subject matter, I'm going to try to be mindful of transitions from one subject matter to the next. I know these are very, very long catalogs of information. So what I'm entertaining the idea of, I'm not promising I'm going to do this. I'm entertaining the idea. That means I might try to do it going forward. When I talk about specific elements of the discussion, like for instance, when we were talking about the turtle soup aspect, okay? Yesterday I was going to talk about that as a subject matter today. But I didn't go right into that subject matter because we were watching live price action. I was giving you counseling over what to expect, what not to expect, telling my son, this is what you're looking for, this is what's good, this is what's not good. All those things being germane to the discussion and why I'm even doing the live streams. But I want to kind of like write down the time when I transition from one subject to the next. And then I will give you in a comment underneath the live stream, or maybe in the description, I'll give you a breakdown of, what I'm covering in there. If you are one of my students that have always done this with my videos, I have some students that literally will give you the minute marker of every fucking video I've ever made and what I was talking about. Like they're amazing at it. They catalog and index things so well, but they were doing it for themselves. And sometimes I would promote those comments in the videos, so that way people can say, okay, well they're doing it for themselves, but I'm going to borrow that, so that way everybody can see this is where I'm talking about that. That was actually a cool thing. I didn't really go through and verify all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is ask you all as the community, not that all of you need to do it. Okay, it's not a homework assignment because there's a lot of things going on in the world and there's enough for you to go through with the content. But for people that just do this anyway, and you write down and you log where I talk about certain things in these long videos and these long live streams, if you're willing to, you can leave that type of information. Just leave the title and the date of the live stream. Just comment and reply to whatever the most recent community post is. Because when I look at the posts, I just go through all the video posts that say for review. All my comments generally are for review. So I can go through and see what people are saying. And if I get at least 2 or 3 of you saying that this is generally where I'm changing gears and I'm talking about, this is where he starts talking about turtle soup. And this is where he's talking about entry strategies. This is where he talks about stop loss placement and how to use smaller stop losses. I cover those things today. Okay. And I know that there are people that are trying to spoon feed the people that don't want to sit and listen to the entire thing. So I'm going to strangle them, okay, because they're trying to make YouTube channels out of splicing right to the nuggets, okay? I'm going to cancel that whole necessity for that by putting timestamps in these long-winded presentations. So that way you can go in by index and say, okay, this is the video. He talks about this, and I can click on it. I'm not saying I'm going to go through the business of going in and doing the hyperlinks right to that minute marker, but I would appreciate it if some of you want to help in this regard. It doesn't mean I'm going to make your comment visible. It just means that, if you're already doing it, don't start doing it if you don't want to do it, okay? But if you're already doing it, if you want to make that available to me in the comment section, it would be a personal matter of me appreciating that and saying thank you for your assistance with it. But going forward, I intend to do that. But for the ones that we've already done, it's been 6. This is the 6th live stream, I think. Yeah, 6th one. So the 6th, the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and first one. Whenever I'm changing subject matter or I'm amplifying something, and then I return back to something that was being discussed earlier, that would be beneficial to other people because I get a lot of questions and they think I have an index of what video or what time in the video. I don't do that shit. But I can see a use for it because I am very long-winded because I'm giving a clinic. Like I'm literally writing books audibly. Like I'm doing an audio fucking book every day with you all. I'm literally giving that much information. And you think it's just a small amount of information. You could cut this down to 5 minutes. The fuck I can. Okay, you can't. You cannot do today's lecture in a small little span of time because there's so many things that are contributing elements to it. And yeah, I had a lot of fluff and talk in it, but you still can't reduce it down to a very, very small video. There has to be other things. And you're going to need other videos and lectures where I've done other discussions to amplify and further explain what you don't fully understand just because I talked about it or mentioned it briefly here. Like the breaker. If you've never seen the breaker before, what the hell is a breaker? Where is the breaker's entry mechanism? What validates it as a breaker? These are all questions you probably, if you've never heard it, you're like, okay, what is a breaker? Where can I find information on a breaker? How do you trade a breaker? You know, what validates a breaker? What invalidates a breaker? So I already know the questions you're going to come up with, but they're already answered in other videos that you should have already watched before watching this one. But you can't be that way if you just discover the channel. So you got to take it in bite-sized pieces and just know that they're in the mentorship videos, the 2016 and 2017 playlists on this YouTube channel. Go through them, okay? And that's it. I'm going to get off here. I wish you all a very pleasant day. I had fun. Hope you learned something. If you did, if you liked it, enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. That's our currency here. There's no PayPal links required. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, Lord willing. Until then, be safe. There we are. It's about time this thing works with me today. It was messing with me here. Good morning. Good morning. I'm a bit of a proud Uncle ICT. We just sent our niece off to college. She's been living with us, and she's now officially a freshman. She's going to go live on campus. So it kind of was a little bit of a delay saying goodbye. My wife and her mother and sister and one of the vehicles were all packed up to go take their stuff there. So that was kind of the reason why I'm delayed. A little emotional, proud of her. Beautiful young Black woman, and I believe she's going to be such a success, and I can't wait to see it. So Olivia, when you listen to this later on, just know that I'm very, very proud of you. So today, I want to ask some questions. I know some of you like to ask me questions, but I want to ask you some questions. But before we get into it, I'm going to give you the lay of the land here. That way we can have our levels in mind. So the yellow shaded area here, that is the entire daily volume imbalance. Okay, so I'm going to go back out to a daily chart in a moment, but for now, if you notice, if you bear with me 1 second, I apologize. I know I'm not that professional when it comes to this live streaming stuff. Still learning, man. Still learning. Yes, I just want to do an audio check real quick, because if I start talking and I don't hear myself, it's going to be these Democrat ads. Wasted. Well, there goes half my audience, right? So, okay, I can hear myself talking. All right, so anyway, this level here, the 20,001, that is the rejection block from the daily chart, which you'll see in a moment. This is the full daily volume imbalance. And some of you probably were on the assumption that you had yours filled in before mine. That's because you probably had settlement toggled on your daily chart, and I'll show you what that means in a moment. This is our new day opening gap for today. You see the reference points over here. And then I'll get into the business of all this stuff here, because that's going to be an answer to one or two of the questions that I'm going to propose to you. I'm going to leave you with some questions that you're going to have to answer on your own. It's going to be things that's going to be important for you if you're going to be a student here, or if you're contemplating spending any more time watching any of my content or ever coming to my live streams or whatnot. These are questions that I think that are going to be paramount for you. They're not necessarily important for me, because I'm convinced. I mean, it is what it is. It's in my hands. I'm showing you. But for students that are here and you're trying to learn how to do this, or you're just sticking your toe in the water to see if there's any reason to do any further investigation, whether or not this is something that's applicable for you. Does it really work? Is there really an algo? I'm going to give you a lot of things today. Also cover live price action as we go. But we started this week off with the expectation of primarily focusing on the foundations to entries. Okay. And it's one thing knowing where the market's likely to go. Then it's altogether something different than simply saying, this is where I think it's going to go. And then when it gets there, you feel the warm and fuzzies. It's like, wow, I really saw that coming. And it really delivered. And that's a necessary part of your development. That is not the same thing as knowing when to get into a trade. Now, I have lots of ways to get into a trade. And you watched me do one yesterday that I'm going to try to do my best to explain what it was. But there's certain elements of manual intervention. And I will try my best to try to articulate what that was that I observed yesterday and walk you through the trade, why I did it, and I'll show you what I did in the afternoon as well. So before we can get to understanding where the market's going to go, we have to have a higher time frame lay of the land. Okay, what's it likely to do? And if you remember when we first started this teaching circuit, the 2024 ICT mentorship on YouTube. It's for free. If anybody's selling you these videos, you're a moron. you're paying for it when it's all for free. But I started it with showing you just intraday volatility. So that way you can read short-term highs and lows, relative equal highs and lows, draws on liquidity, time of day studies, and looking at the influence of what liquidity and inefficiencies in price